Hello, welcome to the live stream, and guess who's also joining for the live stream? Machka is here. Okay, no, she's leaving. Are you coming back? What is happening? Hello, welcome to what is probably our final figure skating live stream. I know we've had 3 weeks straight of figure skating live streams. Here's the thing. I have no capacity to think about anything else. I am both doing Olympics for work and Olympics for personal time right now. And so I don't feel like I have any capacity to talk about anything else. And there's like so much has happened in figure skating in the past week. There is no way we're going to get through this during the live stream. However, it is Paczki Day and Fat Tuesday. And so we actually have 3 donuts today. We will see who comes to join to maybe take a tax. But this is a banana pecan beignet. So it's got banana cream on it, and then it's a regular vegan beignet. And then this is a raspberry beignet. And this is a cream-filled paczki, which is like a Polish donut, and this is traditionally Paczki Day in Poland, which I guess is I assume it is on Fat Tuesday always. I think that's when it is. If anybody's Polish and can fill me in about when Paczki Day always is, most of what I know about Paczki Day is that I watched a video of Carolina Zabrowska going around and getting paczki from all the places. Letter B says, something really terrible happened at a local ice rink yesterday, so I want to hear about the good things. Oh yeah, I saw that. That looked really awful. I haven't actually followed the story, but I saw the headline on the group chat. Buzzbubble says, amazing jacket. This jacket is signed by so many Olympians. It's from my time at the Ice Castle training facility. And the inside is signed by a ton of people. I think there's Surya Bonali in here. Yes, that's Surya Bonali right there. Who is this? Oh, that's Timothy Gable, who I literally was just texting with earlier. Anyway, it does fit, but it is still a little tight on the bottom because I got it when I was 11? 11? So it does fit, but I'm not going to say like it's like the most comfortable jacket that I've ever owned in my life. I think the elastic wearing out from age, I was 11 or 12, I think, when I got this jacket. So anyway, we'll see how long I last, because usually eventually the lights get to me and I overheat. So we'll see for how long I can do it. But look, I've got the US and Canada on here, Canada and the US, and it is perfect because the women's hockey gold medal game on Thursday is between the US and Canada. Annoyingly, it is at the exact same time, pretty much, as the women's free skating final, which I am going to have to watch that. You know, as someone who mostly became a hockey fan by virtue of, like, obviously, I support all women's sports played with knives on the feet, but heated rivalry has made me more interested in women's hockey. And on Sunday night, I just did the reporting on the story about our local women's non-binary and trans hockey league. They have 9 teams, which I feel like is exceptional. And all their teams. So in heated rivalry, all the teams' logos are either bottoms or tops. If you look at the logos, you'll be able to see what I mean. And in this local team, it's very queer because women's hockey is a very queer game. All of the logos are boobs or vulvas. So they're all named after birds because they're like the Dirty Birds League, but all of the birds are like the blue-footed boobies, or it's like the pigeons, but the way the pigeon looks is very vulva-like. Anyway, it's great. We'll see how much of that I can work into the piece when it airs this weekend. I have not done it at all. Yeah, Sergio Bonali is still coaching and skating, and I thought she was in. I didn't think she was in Vegas right now, though. I thought she was up in Ohio now. I thought she was in Cleveland because she's coaching. I thought she was coaching in Cleveland. I tried to get Panchki the other day and I gave up when their parking lot was swamped. Yeah, I actually went and got these. I hope they're still like fresh enough because my normal schedule has been thrown off by the Olympics, but also I knew that it was going to be very busy. They're not doing their regular donuts today. They're just doing the beignets and the Panchkis. And I went in the morning before the women's event because I knew that they might run out, although they did quite a lot of that. All right. What do we need to talk about? Because so much has happened, and I have been reporting on this on various aspects of this all week. By the way, if you are not a Personal Finance Society member, you can join for free, but I've linked to all of the pieces that I've been doing for NPR. One of them was on the cost of being an Olympic figure skater. Another was on the push to legalize same-sex ice dancing. I interviewed 2 Finnish junior ice dancers that are competing where they're one of the 3 countries where it is legal to have same-sex ice dancing. And I interviewed 2 Olympic ice dancers who are pushing for this rule change, including one who's involved in the International Skating Union's technical committee for ice dance. So I did that story, and then I also did some other stories about like the men's event and Ilya's explosion. So if you really want to get the not live edited version, well, one of them was actually live to tape, but if you want to get the polished version of me talking about figure skating rather than whatever I'm going to do in this live stream, I have many opportunities to do that. I believe I have one more figure skating story coming out. I believe I'm doing another video podcast on Friday about the results of the women's event. Not 100% sure yet. I would be happy if I don't do any more reporting, frankly. I'm very tired. I want a day off. I have so many other things to do. I also did a really dumb story for work. I just saw this and I was like, oh, this is such a perfect story for me. A local person who just decided to do, we have a local convenience store chain here called Plaid Pantry. It's a Portland owned business, and I believe it's still family owned. And they have like 54 stores in Portland. They have 108 stores like in the Pacific Northwest, but essentially their range, I think, is like from Eugene up to Seattle, but it's like almost more than half of them are in Portland. Anyway, I interviewed someone who just one day decided that they were going to do a speed run and go to every single Plaid Pantry in Portland. They called it pointless, but they finished it anyway. I thought it was a very fun story. They were a great interview. They do a lot of weird projects. It took 7 hours and 49 minutes to go to all 54 Plaid Pantry stores. And they took a picture of every Plaid Pantry and they uploaded it to Wikimedia. So Cheryl says, I haven't watched a drop of the Olympics. David says, I also have not watched any Olympics. Okay, well, I don't think I can catch you up on all of the Olympics, and I am pretty much only watching figure skating because there's so many figure skating events. These Olympics feel shorter to me. I don't know if that's actually true. I haven't fact checked this in any way. Maybe it's because I felt more obligated to watch every drop of figure skating during this Olympics because I'm doing reporting on it. I don't want to miss important context, but it feels like a lot of events crammed into a short period of time. That's how it feels. Okay, highlights. Let's start with the great things. The pairs event yesterday, Rico and Riichi got the first gold medal in pairs for Japan. They had gone all the way down to 5th place after a mistake in the short program. They were heavily favored to win, but and I will say that he was really beating himself up. He essentially didn't get her up on a lift all the way. They didn't have a fall. It was not a clean lift, and they lost a ton of points in the short program, and that's a required element. They essentially got a lower level on that lift, and they usually have fantastic lifts. So he was beating himself up after that. And then in the free skate, Riku and Ryuichi, it was effervescent. I'm a big fan of most of the pairs, and watching it, I remember a live comment in my notes document. I was like, I don't care who wins. I just want them all to skate their best. But if anybody goes above that program, they deserve the gold medal, because Rico and Ryuichi was just amazing. Also, he was just ugly sobbing at the end of it. He was just unconsolably sobbing. Their last Olympics was like really rough, because of he got COVID. And so she was just like training by herself during the last Olympics. This, I think, was his third or fourth Olympics, but he had never gotten a gold medal. I think this was his fourth and her third. Don't quote me on that. They've been there at least 3 times. And we were just like, they have to do it. They were exceptional. It was just so amazing. After the disaster that was the men's event, the men's free skate was like heartbreaking in so many ways. The only way that it was exciting was watching Misha win the gold was amazing. I'm so excited about what that is going to do for figure skating in Kazakhstan and the legacy of Dennis Ten. And Misha is just a really sweet guy. Also, representation to have someone with braces get an Olympic gold medal. I feel like we need to see that. He was like biting the medal with his braces, and I was like, yes, some teenager or 20-something out there needs to see, or adult with braces. But anyway, we need to see Olympic gold medalists with braces. I thought that was great representation. Also, he put out some he does this particularly insane combination where he does a triple axel, a Euler, and then he finishes it with a quad. That's very, very unusual. It is extremely unusual to do a triple axel and a quad together. I don't think I've seen even Ilya Malinin, who does crazy combinations, put up that particular combination, at least in competition. And he did such an exceptional job. He racked up tons of points for that. I think it was like 18 points or something crazy. 18, 20 points. Misha had the skate of the night. It's also wild that he went from 5th to Olympic gold medalist. So I'm very, very proud of Mikhail Shidorov. That was exceptional. There is a very big petition he skated at Worlds. And so all the skaters get invited to like do an exhibition at the end of the Olympics. All the like medalists get invited, and then selected other skaters, usually like the home country skaters, even if they weren't medalists, and like some fan favorites will get selected to do the exhibition. And so Misha will be there. Exhibition programs can be a lot more fun because you're not trying to rack up points. You're just trying to like please the audience. And Misha, who was the silver medalist at Worlds last year, he does a program where he's dressed as Kung Fu Panda. He did a triple in a large panda suit. It was so cool. And so I'm really, really hoping there is a petition on change.org going around to get that panda suit somehow to Milan so that Misha can skate that to it. Yes. I did attend a Valentine's Day counter programming keyboard meetup though. I'm very excited for you. We say every direction has a turn at the Plaid Pantry. That is true in Portland. Wow, there's a lot of people who haven't been watching the Olympics. I kind of get it. I mean, it's a full-time job. It's also really rough. If you're in North America, it's like North or South America, it's like really rough because the events, if you want to watch them live, which I think watching, like, it's very exciting to watch sporting events live. It's like less fun if you get spoiled by your phone and then you're watching it on prime time. And then if you're watching it on primetime, you have to, like in the US, you have to watch NBC's specific cut. And I get very frustrated because often they cut skaters that I would like to see because they're not American. And they just have their own set of broadcast priorities. And I do not like the main commentators, Tara and Johnny. Nothing against them personally, but I do not like the way that Tara and Johnny commentate. So if you watch live, you can, and you're in the US, you can watch on Peacock's Venue feed, which has no commentary. However, it's in the middle of the day. So it's mostly worked out for me. Essentially, like I work so early on the weekends that I've been able to like come home and then like immediately start watching the Olympics because they start at like 11 on Saturdays, and then kind of like work a split shift and finish after that. And then Monday and Tuesdays I've been able to watch them in the middle of the day. And then I'm hoping I have a President's Day makeup because I worked on President's Day, and also it's my weekend, so I get a makeup holiday. So I'm trying to take that on Thursday. We will decide if that is going to happen. And if I take that makeup, that means I will be off on Thursday and I can watch the women's free skate live. But like, that's a lot. And it's at the same time as the women's hockey gold medal match. Yeah, I mean, I think that broadcasting stuff is just such a huge problem. So Fuzzbubbles is saying, I'm mad at NBC. I assumed I could rewatch anything during the Olympics, but when I sat down this weekend, the skating team stuff wasn't on the Peacock apps anymore. Yeah, you only have 48 hours on Peacock, I believe, to rewatch, which is still better. Like sometimes it's only 24 hours after events. I am so used to Peacock's screwery when it comes to like general ability to stream stuff, because they essentially have the license for all figure skating in the US. But the ISU will stream stuff, a lot of competitions on their channel, and you can access the ISU stream with a VPN in the US. But that has not been true for the Olympics. I think there's a couple, because the broadcast licensing is so complicated for the US, because obviously the goal is to have like every country involved. And then that means you have a state broadcaster for every country. And so it can be really challenging. I know some people have been able to find like some of the streams. A lot of people like the CBC commentators. I haven't been able to get onto the German stream, so I've been seeing some clips of the German commentators. Katharina Witt is doing some of the commentary, but not all of the commentary in Germany. I saw this clip. I did not watch it live. I saw this clip of, I think it was monobob. It might have been luge. I don't know. One of the sliding sports. But the Swiss commentator, the entire run, all he did was talk about pro-Zionist statements the Israeli athlete had made, and then read the Olympics rules about political statements by athletes for war, which were for the Belarusian and Russian athletes, and does not currently apply to Israel. But he read those statements alongside the athlete statements the entire way the Israeli team was making their way down the luge. The part of it was that it wasn't about specifically Israel. It was about specific statements that specific athlete had made in support of Israel's actions in Gaza. And I thought it was pretty ballsy. I used to watch the Canadian channel because they had better coverage. I also like curling. Yes. Well, so I will say in the US, we can't just play sports at the Olympics. That's been one of the things, is that the Russian and the Belarusian athletes are specifically banned unless because they're competing under the individual neutral athletes. And they are specifically doing that because of because they had to prove, they had their social media combed and everything. They had to prove that they were not affiliated or like actively involved in supporting the war effort, which comes back to the U.S. To the women's skating, which we can talk about a little bit because one of our people that's on the podium right now is one of the neutral athletes right now. Or wait, she's in fourth, I believe. Hold on, let me double check. Yeah, she's in fifth, actually. I forgot that Monet went ahead of her. So one of the athletes that's in fifth right now, Adelia Petrosian, she is a Russian athlete that has the individual neutral athlete status. And one of the big reasons that they had to do that was because a bunch of other countries were threatening to pull out of the Olympics if Russia and Belarus were allowed to compete. And so there was a bunch of like funding problems. So the IOC had to create these like guardrails for qualifying athletes. I mean, the big reason why specifically Russia and Belarus are banned is because multiple times Russia has violated the Olympic truce, which all countries that are participated in the Olympics are supposed to obey. And this is last Olympics was not the first time that Russia violated the Olympic truce by invading another sovereign country during the course of the Olympics, which that there was supposed to be a truce during the Olympics with regards to that. And they are not the only country that has done that, but specifically one of the reasons that Russia was banned. Prior to the last Olympics, even though this is not the first time they've violated the Olympic truce, because they started invasions like literally during the closing ceremonies of Ukraine at the Beijing Olympics. The other reason is because Russia participated in large-scale state-sponsored doping. I think the insistence that sport be separate from politic, especially when it comes to the Olympics, where you are competing under a team flag, which is not true for all other sports, right? But like in figure skating, we're always competing under a country's flag, even though you're individual athletes. In a lot of other sports, you're mainly just competing under an individual and it's not associated with a country. But when and like professional sports are not associated with country. But when it comes to the Olympics, they've always been political. Sport is political. And so, this argument or quest to have sports not be political, I think, is a lost cause when there are many, many countries that use sports to show dominance. I mean, all you have to do is look at the history of sports in the US during the Cold War, right? Sports inherently are political. If you look at the way the USSR and the US treated sports and treated sports funding, which, by the way, there's a very good Planet Money episode on that came out like 2 weeks ago that specifically talked about one of the reasons why we do not state-sponsor athletes is this relic of during the Cold War, the U.S. wanted to prove that free enterprise could fund these athletes versus it being state-sponsored the way that it is in a lot of other countries, and in particular at the time the way it was in Soviet times. Which is still, that legacy still persists. There's also a lot of other countries in the world that were not like actively fighting in the Cold War in the same way that it was the US versus the USSR that do state sponsor athletes, right? So like France is a great example, like very much they do state sponsor athletes. I was interviewing Gabriela Papadakis, who's the 2022 Olympic gold medalist in ice dancing. And she essentially said like, I have a single mom. There's no way I would have ever gotten to the level that I got to in figure skating if I hadn't been born in France. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think we can separate sports from politics. My grandmother was sort of born in Belarus, sort of as in it wasn't then, but it is now. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of us that were born in a country that now exists that didn't exist back then, right? Belarusia, yes. Belarus has been, Belarus is still considered part of the Russian Union by Russia. So the Russian Union is now, instead of like the USSR, which obviously included a lot of countries that are now their own sovereign countries, Belarus would like to be its own sovereign country, but their Minsk, which is their capital, Politicians kind of either lean towards Russia or they lean towards the West. Similar things that we were seeing in a lot of former Soviet countries. Belarus is still considered part of the Russian Union. And Belarus has been providing both like land for the Russian military to stage troops to go into Ukraine. They've been providing military support, soldiers, all sorts of things. So Belarus is included in, and by the way, the reason I'm switching between Belarus and Belarus is how Belarus defines, like, says that the English version of their name is, but Belarus is what is more commonly used in America. So anyway, I interchangeably switch between those. Like a lot of countries, that's not how you say their name in their own language. And so people switch back and forth about that. When we were looking into Aaron's possibly getting citizenship from Poland, speaking of, I should have the patchkey now that we're talking about Poland. They essentially, Poland was like, if your ancestors left before we were our own sovereign country, take it up with whoever was in charge of us at the time. Because poor Poland has been, so many people have been in charge of them over the years, so many different countries. I was 53 when I got aligners, braces. I had a permanent retainer in my bottom teeth after I had braces when I was a kid, and I had a permanent retainer for years, and I got it off maybe like 6 years ago, I want to say. And my bottom teeth have shifted so much. I needed to get the permanent retainer off. I would have liked to keep it, but it was doing weird things to my gums, so they just removed it. But the bottom teeth have shifted so much in the 6 years since that, and I'm so frustrated. And I was like, oh, do I have to get, a different one? I considered looking into that. My grandfather was born in Warsaw and drafted into the Polish army, then captured by the Soviets and spent the war in a gulag. Could look into it for sure. Poland as a escape plan, or being captured by the Soviets and spending the war in a gulag. I don't know which you're saying is an escape plan. Poland is part of the EU, so if you are unhappy with America right now and you get Polish citizenship, you can live and work anywhere in the EU for as long as the EU continues to exist. But we've seen how messy the breakup is when it comes to the UK. All right, we're getting too into politics, y'all. We need to go back to figure skating. There was a request to do fun things, and now we're talking about not fun things, like war and the crumbling of institutions. So what were some of the best moments thus far in figure skating? That one of the best moments was Mikhail Shidorov becoming the Olympic gold medalist. If you don't know, Misha, he doesn't always have like the best presentation, but he has really high tech scores. He has pretty exceptionally awesome technique. He grew up skating on a pond in Kazakhstan, which has very, very few facilities. So he grew up skating outdoors. His dad had been a competitive ice skater, but never at the top levels. He's Russian ethnicity, but he's very much Kazakhstan, and he will get very upset if anybody says that he's anything other than Kazakh, which is something that tries to be claimed all the time by the Russian media because they like to claim any athletes that have Russian heritage as being Russian athletes when they have success. And he gets very upset when Russian media call him a Russian athlete. However, he eventually topped out in what he could do as he was training in Kazakhstan, and he got the opportunity to be coached in Sochi. So he trains in Sochi. A lot of athletes, especially in the stands and in Eastern Europe, will train in Russia because the facilities for figure skating training are so much better in Russia, and they have access to a lot of very top tier. So he is actually coached by a Olympic gold medalist who was also a surprise Olympic gold medalist in '92. So I feel like it was kind of a perfect wrap up for it. The reason why Misha's success is so exciting for Kazakhstan, one, Kazakhstan is offering a shit ton of money to Olympic gold medalists. I think it's about 250,000 USD that they're giving. They're going to give him a parade in Almaty. I am sure of that. He is like a national hero there. I've had to reinstall Instagram during the Olympics because so much of the like reporting is happening on Instagram, which by the way, I am so excited. I keep uninstalling it again because man, I've loved life without Instagram on my phone. I have to recommend that. It just works so crappily on desktop that I have to keep installing it to do anything. But what I will tell you is after Misha's win, I started getting recommended videos in Kazakh like talking about Misha from non-figure skating people. Like the Kazakhstan people are so excited. He also skated his free skate to it was music from Fifth Element, but then it also had a Kazakh singer that was like in there. Dima, why is the name Misha Shadurov free skate program music? I think it's Dinash. But he's a Kazakhstan singer, and the singer offered to give him Mikhail a car. Like that tells you how excited they are about their gold medal. First ever gold medal, second medal at the Olympics. The first one was bronze, won 12 years ago by Dennis Ten. Dennis Ten worked so hard to build up Kazakhstan figure skating and the figure skating scene. He was an exceptional talent. He was a really nice guy. According to everyone that met him, he actually, someone dug up video of Misha as a little tiny kid taking a lesson from Dennis Ten in Kazakhstan. Dennis Ten was tragically killed in a essentially random homicide. There was someone tried to steal the mirrors off of his car in Almaty. Then when he tried to like confront the robbers, they stabbed him and he lost a bunch of blood and died. And now one of the big figure skating events in the fall is named the Dennis Ten Memorial. It was a shame. And so it's everybody. One of the things that was so exciting about Misha winning is that everybody just kept thinking of Dennis Ten and the legacy of Kazakh figure skating being carried on by Mikhail Shadurov. And it was very, very sweet. I will also say that Misha, because he was in the 5th place after the short, how did he end up Olympic champion? Well, he ended up Olympic champion because a lot of the men that were favorites for the podium, Mikhail wasn't he was a very surprising gold medalist, but he wasn't surprising for the podium. Like he's the 4 continents champion. He's the reigning world silver medalist. Like there is a lot of thought that he could be on the podium, but man, was he an outside chance for gold medalist. And what happened was, I don't know if the ice was cursed. I don't know if there was an Etsy witch that put a curse on the ice, but everybody be fallen. Everybody be fallen in the men's final, including, unfortunately, gold medal favorite, as of this point, undefeated for more than 2 years, almost going on 3 years now, undefeated Ilya Malinin, American quad god, the only person to ever land a quad axel. He very much helped deliver the gold for the United States in the team event last week. Ilya Malinin crumbled under the pressure. It was heartbreaking to watch. He popped the quad axle. It was the largest single axle I've ever seen in my entire life. But he popped it, and that screwed with him. And I think what was happening was he was trying to figure out, he really wanted to do the quad axle on Olympic ice and make history. And he changes his layouts of his programs quite frequently. And I watched him just trying, like recalibrating and trying to figure out how to get it in the program. And he had some ups and downs. He still landed 3 quads, but he didn't land the 7 that we know he can in that long program. And he popped a ton of jumps. He doubled a bunch of stuff. It was and then that giant single axle, which is worth like 1 point. So he gave up like 20 points on that pop. But he could have won it without the quad axle. Like he could have popped that quad axle and still won it. But then he was just really, the wind got sucked out of him. And his look on his face at the end when he realized that he had lost it, he ended up coming in 8th place. It was heartbreaking. I will say he's been reached out to by so many people. Everyone is taking care of him. He was extremely generous because he was the last skater to go, because he was in the top position, and we go in reverse order. In the long program, he went straight up to Misha, congratulated him, told him he deserved it. Misha had barely realized that he had won. He was in just utter shock, and he'd been in utter shock because in figure skating, we're doing this thing called like the leader's chair, where whoever is in the first place position after the program will go sit in this chair. And you know, it's an excuse to just keep having a camera on that person as they watch things. But you watched him you watched Misha realize that he was going to get a medal. And it was like, holy crap, because he had not had the best short program, and there were so many great skaters to go after him. So, you know, the thought was like, well, you did your best in this free skate. You're going to finish in a great position, but you're probably not going to get a medal unless some people screw up. But then a lot of people screwed up. I think one of the more heartbreaking ones to me was our silver medalist, Yuma Kagiyami, who has always been in the shadow of someone. He's always been in the shadow of either Yuzuru Hanyu, Shuma Uno, or Ilya Malinin. And so he's just like a perennial silver medalist. And he has just a skating quality. It's just so gorgeous. He has the quads, but he also just has skating skills like a god. And this free skate, beautiful. It's just Turnadote, but a pianist composed it for him. And so his step sequence, when he does it, every single step is perfectly on beat for this piece of music that has been composed for him. It is a work of art. Unfortunately, it was not the work of art that it can be at this Olympics. And I'm really bummed for that, because pretty much he could have, with Ilya's stumbles, I mean, Ilya got 8th, like Yuma could have been the Olympic gold medalist. I'm very happy for Misha, but really a bummer. And then Shun Sato did not think, he also had some bobbles, but like I said, the ice was cursed. And Shun got bronze, and Shun did not realize it, and he was also unconsolable. Everything was so unpredictable about how this turned out that all of the skaters on the podium were relacing up their skates to go out for the podium, because none of them thought that they had podiumed. Like, that's how crazy it was. Also, Yuma, God love him, he could have been in his feels about the fact that he lost that chance for that Olympic gold medal. But instead, Shun was just absolute hype man and has created the best possible meme for these Olympics, which is Shun uncontrollably sobbing behind him, our bronze medalist, as he realizes, trying to lace up his skates and just sobbing, and with like relief, disappointment, whatever, I mean, just like really sobbing. And then Yuma in front of him just like, just hyping him up, and he was hyping up Misha, and it was just really phenomenal. I am so happy for them. So that was the men's event. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions about that? If anybody here has Canadian ancestry, congratulations, you're a Canadian citizen. As of 2 months ago, they changed citizenship by descent in a new bill. Oh, that's very exciting. So that sounds like it could work. Does anybody have any questions thus far? Because I just monologued. Let's eat a donut, y'all, because that's what this is here. Okay, we're going to start with the paczki because we were talking about Poland earlier. And okay, here it is. This is our paczki. It's just a regular cream-filled one and vegan. And it's vanilla cream. They also had chocolate cream, but I decided to go with this one. It's so sugary on the outside. With paczki, the really exciting part is the dough. The cream is just sort of extra. You can come bring me a napkin, which I forgot again. That's your tax favor trade. The granular sugar on the outside is really good. The dough is like a little too bready for me. Okay. The cream and the dough are just too, they're good, but they're just like normal dough donuts good for me. That's my take on it. Should we eat a second donut? Okay, what's my rating on that one? I think it's a 3.5 out of 5. It's good, but it's not like the most exciting thing I've ever eaten. What's your take? Are you agreeing? Aaron said it is what it says. Okay, maybe that's right. I'll upgrade it to a 4. All right. Second donuts. We have beignets, and one is banana pecan and one is raspberry. Which one should I have? All right, I'm giving it a 4 in the book. I'm thinking the banana one is so interesting looking that I'm very tempted to eat this one first. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Well, so here we go. It's got banana cream on the top. I think there's some piped in as well, and then little pecans. The chat has really gotten quiet. Hopefully I didn't lose everyone. Some very suspicious noises coming from the cats. This might be a 5 out of 5. This is exceptional. Very tiny donut tag.
That was the one I requested.
You didn't request one.
I did.
You were not specific about it.
I said I want that one.
Well, you said that to yourself. Okay, one more bite. That's a 5 out of 5. That was so good.
No
Letter B says, I can't type hands under the heating pad. Thank you for telling me.
No filling?
There's no filling, apparently, but it's really good. That's a 5 out of 5 for me. Hi. Can you guys hear those little pitter-patter of feet on the stream? All right. So, we talked about pears. Do we want to talk about ice dance? Damn, ice dance. Ice dance, man. You know what? A lot of people put out their best skates, and Piper and Paul, the Canadians who did A Starry Night, they were stoked. I'm so happy they got the bronze medal. They did A Starry Night because it was a program that Piper's mom, who died very unexpectedly from cancer, was able to live to see them do on Olympic ice. And so they brought it back for this year. I'm very happy they got the bronze medal. Very proud of them, especially because Canada just lost out in the team event on the podium. But yeah, so that was great. Chalk and Bates, I do think the US media overreacted to, the French team getting the gold and Chalk and Bates getting the silver. I will say Chalk and Bates did get a gold again for the second time in the team event. And they put out 4 skates at this Olympics that they can be proud of because they did both of the events in the team event. And then they, in the course of a week, did 4 skates in like 6 days, a crazy amount of programs. And I am very proud of them for what they did. Did they get robbed? I don't know. There was definitely a lack of synchronicity on Twizzles from the French team. It came down to a really tight margin. Ice dance is, in the end, subjective. I think they should be extremely proud of their skate, and they have plenty of medals and a very, very long career. They were joking because this was Evan Bates' fifth Olympics, and him and Maddie's 4th Olympics together. There is a Twitter account called Evan Bates Outlives that's just all of the things that Evan Bates' career has outlived. And I found out like a couple of international news events from that account. They were joking that they would be into, that they might show up at Salt Lake City in 2034. That being said, I think they were saying show up. I don't think they're actually thinking about competing, especially because they want kids, and that can make it really hard to start a family when you're a couple, and one of you would have to be pregnant, theoretically. And so that's just kind of on hold. And even if Maddie wasn't the one to get pregnant, it's pretty incompatible having a young kid and competing on the international skating circuit. Doesn't mean it's not possible, but other highlights of these events, I mentioned Riki and Ricci, our new gold medalists. Deanna Stellato Dudek, who is 42 fucking years old, went to her first Olympics this week and skated 2 programs. They had a really unfortunate, just very silly fucking fall in the short program. They did a perfect lift, and then she was just on slightly the wrong part of her skate during the short, and that really took them out of medal contention. I think she ended up finishing 8th or 9th or 10th overall, her and Max. That being said, she looked like $1 million fucking dollars. She had 2 couture Oscar de la Renta gowns. Also, she became an Olympian after quitting the sport for 16 fucking years at the age of 42. I didn't care what happened. The big thing was like they were podium favorites until she got injured just 10 days out from the Olympics. Had some sort of accident in training. They haven't been very specific about it. It sounds like it was a head injury. And it was like touch and go about whether or not Canada was going to clear her for coming to the event. They had to pull out of the team event. And so the fact that she made it there, I mean, she kept saying like, I felt like the dream was slipping from my grasp. And we are so proud of her, and she put out a really great skate. I was texting with one of the coaches on that team for a story I was working on, and I was like, I really hope you let Deanna know that we all are just so proud of her and so happy. And she's an inspiration for middle-aged women everywhere, because it's never too fucking late, man. Amazing to come back. I mean, we're not all Deanna Stellato Dudek, but if you've got something that has been in the back of your head that you felt like it was too late for. Apparently, if you're Deanna Gelada Dudek, you can do it. Koala says, I'm admiring the cupboards. The green and gold are a perfect match. The handles, the extra touch. Well, these are all different too. I don't know if you can, yeah, it's like out of frame, but these are all little like different wood sort of fairies. So there's like a snail here, a flower above it are some cherry blossoms. There's a butterfly and another thing. Anyway, it was a whole journey. It was very hard to pick out those handles. And then I'm very happy with these, but I have not finished deciding what's going into all those drawers. So I haven't done the official labels because I'm going to do nice calligraphy on them. We still have one more donut. Let's talk about women's. So the short program just wrapped up like a couple hours ago. It's going to air on primetime on NBC if you're in the US this evening. Very, very proud of the people that we have on the podium right now that are in the podium positions after the short. Obviously, no one's on the podium. You don't get small medals at the Olympics. At ISU events like Worlds, they give you small medals for the short program. That doesn't happen at the Olympics. It is Alyssa and the Japanese in the top 4 positions. So Ami Naki, she is Ami Nakai, sorry. We have also Lara Naki Gutman, who is Italian, and so it's confusing. But Ami Nakai, really great, quite young, has a triple axel, which only 2 other women like in this mix have. One of the other skaters that has it is Amber Glenn. She's an American. She also did it. And then the other skater that has it is our individual neutral athlete, Petrosian. She did not do it in her program. The Ami Nakai, awesome. Just a really, really awesome short program. That triple axel was gorgeous. Kari Sakamoto, who is a gold medal favorite. This is her 3rd Olympics, I believe. She is the reigning bronze medalist. She is 3-time world champion. She's won every major title except Olympic gold. Has a skating quality that you just cannot imagine. She's beloved in the skating community. She put out a beautiful, beautiful program. She did get a little bit of a cue call, or no, she got an edge call on her triple flip, triple toe loop combo, which means it got slightly downgraded for going in on the wrong edge. The technical panel was like tough on these guys, especially the later groups. I felt like they weren't really calling the earlier groups as much. Alyssa Liu, American. This is her 2nd Olympics. Her first one, she was a teenager and then she retired and she came back to the sport. She's now 20 or 21, I believe. I think she's 21 now. She is just in it for the love of the game. She says, we have nothing to lose. She does not care. She does already come out of it with a gold medal for the Team USA from the team event. She is just skating for the love of it, and you can see it. Her music was promised by Laffy. Just exceptional programs, beautiful quality. She says she's landing a triple axel, but she hasn't been training it. She was the first American woman to land a triple axel and quadruple jumps. But she was doing that as a young teenager, and then she kind of lost them. She retired. She says she has a triple axel back. She doesn't have any of the quads back. It is unlikely that she will do it. She is not the kind of person to put up tech content that would interfere with her artistry at this point in her career. She was just smiling, loving it on the ice. It was really phenomenal. Monet Chiba, who's a little baby, she did a Donna Summers program, which is what we're going to see Alyssa do her long program to. It's Last Dance by Donna Summers. It was great. I did think that like her artistry is just not fully shaped up the way that I want it to be. Her step sequence is really phenomenal. She has very good tech, but she does not have a triple axel. And then in the fifth position is Adelia Petrosian. Because she's a neutral athlete and she's from Russia, she hasn't skated in any international events except the qualifier that happened in Beijing this past fall. She is 18 and she's really been struggling with some injuries. She's two-time Russian national champion, but it was very, very close at Russian nationals this year. She is coached by Terry Tuperitsa, who was the coach of the last two Olympic champions, and all, the 3A, which is what we refer to, kind of the top three Russian skaters in the last quad. Terry is not cleared to be a neutral coach, but she is still at this competition because she coaches skaters from other countries and doesn't have to clear the neutral status for those countries. But she did get her coach, Daniil, approved last minute. Daniil still coaches in Russia and is one of her coaches, but he is thought to have at least put some subtle statements against the war in Ukraine out on social media as much as possible. Obviously, it's very hard for someone who's living, working, active in Russia, dependent on the Russian government for funding for their skating school, to make very bold statements. But it seems like he's made some implied statements on social media, and he has not actively participated or been on stage with Putin and stuff like that, like some of these other Russian coaches, including Eteri Tuperitsa. So Eteri can't sit with Adelia in the kiss and cry or anything like that. Anyway, Adelia has quads and has a triple axel. She has been about 50-50 on whether or not she's been landing the triple axel in practice, and did not put it in her layout for the short program. She went very early in that group because she does not have that world ranking, because Russia has been banned from international competitions. And the order that you skate in the short program is at the Olympics is determined by your international world ranking. So people with the lowest rankings start earlier. Some of that has to do with the way the sport is judged, but she got a very high program component score. It seemed a little high for what she put out there, but we are used to skaters with Eteri as a coach getting a little bit of a bonus, and she's in the 5th place position. Her tech was great. The combination jump that she did in the short program was one of the higher technical jumps that we'll see. Who else do we love seeing? Anastasia Gubanova, who, despite the Russian name, is Georgian and skated for Georgia for a long time and has, in fact, been pretty critical about what has happened in Russia. Anastasia Gubanova, she does a Bollywood program with a bindi on her head. She's very much a Russian blonde girl. That being said, it will probably go viral in India. And, a lot of the people criticizing it for cultural appropriation are not Indian. I don't love that program. It's a lot. But she put some good tech out. She put the same triple flip, triple toe loop. I don't like her artistry quite as much as some of the other people that are ranked a little lower than her. One of my faves, Luna Hendricks, who has been also struggling with injuries like Adelia. Luna Hendricks, Belgian skater. Hendricks with an X on the end. That's how you know she's Belgian. Older skater, 25, 26, something like that. Let's find out how old Luna Hendricks is. She's 26, yes. Okay, so, which is ancient, right, in these competitions. Unless you're Deanna Stellato Dudek and 42, which is insane. She does not have a triple loop. and she does not have a triple axel. That being said, her skating quality is top notch. She has been really, really struggling with injuries lately, though, but she looks to be back in form. She was pretty much off all last season. She had to get a surgery, was recovering from that. But she will take you to the club. This woman also hates clothes. She wears as little clothes as she can get away with in these programs. And she was skating to Celine Dion. It's actually a different short program than she was skating to, a different Celine Dion song that she couldn't get the rights to last minute, but she delivered it. Celine Dion program, wearing like barely any clothes, sparkly, taking us to the club, really great. I was so happy with it. She's in 7th place, which I did think her PCS scores was maybe like a little like her program components, which is like how she does what she does, like the presentation, the theatricality, her skating skills. I thought they were like a little low. I definitely think they should have been higher than Adelia, but Adelia obviously had higher tech. Wait, did Adelia have higher tech? Double axel, triple lutz, and triple flip toe loop. And then Luna had double axel, triple flip, triple toe loop, triple lutz. Oh, same. She just didn't get same GOE. I do believe she got a Q on one of her jumps, which just means that it's like a quarter under rotated. The Q is a little controversial in the skating community because seemingly it's applied at random. Like there'll be people that slightly under rotate their jumps or pre-rotate their jumps that don't get the peg or do get the peg, and it seems to be kind of politically used, and so a lot of people don't like it. In our 8th place position is Isabeau Levito. She is a American skater, but her Nana still lives in Milan, like an 8-minute tram ride from the rink. Her mom is from Milan, so it's really like a hometown coming. She's also about the most New Jersey Italian that you could possibly imagine. Isabeau, I thought did an exceptional job, very good. She delivered on all fronts with her jumps. She does a Zuby Zuby Zoo program. It's like Sophia Loren inspired. Her dress, Kate McKinnon, just gorgeous, just an absolutely gorgeous red number. She looks so good in it. Her dresses are always amazing. Isabeau, I thought that she went lower than she should have gone. I thought it was really great. I thought she delivered it really well. Okay. I'm kind of going over a couple people, but here's what I got to say. Amber Glenn, she did the triple axel to this Like a Prayer program, choreographed by Caitlin Weaver, just fucking incredible program. But Amber Glenn is her own worst enemy. She is a triple axel. She's a gorgeous triple axel, which is the highest jump that you can, like the highest jump that you are able to do in the short program for the women because they're not allowed to do quads. Not many of these skaters have a triple axel. Amber, when she does things well, she does them top notch. She, world champion level. She's Grand Prix final champion, 3-time back-to-back US champion. Like when she delivers, she fucking delivers. The problem with Amber, and she has openly admitted this, she's very much a mental health advocate. She talks about getting out of her own way. She is her own biggest enemy. And what happened here was so unfortunate. She did a triple axel, amazing, opened the program. Did this triple flip, triple toe loop, gorgeous. Kept going, great. Then she's supposed to do a triple loop. She doubled it. A double loop is not allowed in the short program. It has to be a triple jump. So it became an invalid element and it got 0. She lost 6-7 points from that. She would have probably been the gold. She definitely would have been on the podium. She would have probably been in the gold medal position if she had tripled that loop. And she landed 2 triple loops in the warm-up. I mean, like, the girl has a triple loop. But she doubled that triple loop. She knew it was invalid. And then she just did not deliver the performance for that last minute of that program. She has this incredible step sequence with these 2 spins at the end. And it's just Madonna, and she delivers it so well, and she looks like $1 million again in a Lisa McKinnon costume. It's so good, and she just didn't have it. She didn't put it together, and you could tell like the light left her eyes, and it was frustrating because I wanted her to fight. I wanted her to fight, but this is what happens all the time. As soon as she knows it's over, she just like will not deliver at the same level. And it is, I mean, she like kept going, but it was like, you could tell there was just like, she knew she'd lost it. And that invalid element really hurt her. 6-7 points out of that, depending on the GOE. And she sits in 13th place. That being said, once again, she has the triple axel. One of her possible layouts for her long program includes 2 triple axels. She has a shot, an outside chance still at the podium if some of the other skaters falter, which no one wants. I want everyone to skate their best. I want everyone to do their best. But if we see what happens in the men's event happen in this event, she very well could be on the podium. She still has a chance at bronze. The problem is, will she keep it together? She was sobbing. She was gutted when she got off the ice. She was sobbing through the kiss and cry. First thing she said to her coach was, I had it. She just knew that pop for the double Lutz. It wasn't a fall, so I think what's going to be frustrating to a lot of casual watchers that are watching this in prime time is, to them, they're not going to understand what happened, because short of the commentators, because people don't understand that in the short program, if you don't do the jumps required, it's an invalid element. It doesn't count. You don't get any of the points for it. So it's just really a bummer. If the double loop had counted and it wasn't an invalid element, like if it had been a long program and she had popped it into a double, she would have only lost like 3 points instead of like 7 points. So because like usually a double loop, I mean, and that was a giant double loop, would be like, I think it's about 4.3 roughly. I think the base value is like 3.7, but then she'd get some GOE on it. So it was just really a bummer. It's a bummer to see her kind of get in her own way. K-Walk Comedy says, can't listen. I'll be on team replay and tech rehearsal all week. Good to see you pop in. Thank you for popping in. So yeah, it's so sad regarding, I know Amber Glenn, she does have, and I was texting one of her coaches and telling them, like, tell her we love her and we're such a huge fan of her. She still has a program to go, man. If she can get out of her head and deliver a killer fucking long program, she has a very good chance. She's lost the Olympic gold medal chance unless insane shit happens, which I really, really hope it doesn't, because that would mean a lot of people have to have terrible, terrible long programs, which I don't want. But if she doesn't get stuck in her head, she very much could be on the podium. If a little, if there's some bubbles for some of the other skaters. But I'm worried she's going to give it up. But she did win a gold medal in the team event. And I hope that she remembers that. And she remembers she's Grand Prix final champion. She is, fucking 3-time US champion. She has a triple axel. She has everything in this group. And that she is a rock star. And she's forever an Olympian. And she already has a gold medal. And I want her to remember that. But yes, we will see. Should we eat another donut, y'all? Does anybody have any questions? I know a lot of people can't type or are not in a position to type, but if you have any questions about the figure skating preview of what's to come, I feel like I ran through most of the people. There's been a couple, it's hard to mention everybody. It's a very stacked field for the women's event. There's 24 skaters. One of the bummers, there's 29 skaters. One of the people I was really impressed with, she will not be making it onto the free program, but I'm still really proud of her for coming. Kristen Spores, she's from Great Britain. I think this is her third or fourth Olympics from Great Britain. She cannot currently feel one part of her leg. Like, she cannot feel her left calf, I believe. And she still did it. She still came and skated. She did get another invalid element. I believe she doubled a loop. Maddie Skizis also missed the free skate. Maddie is a Canadian. She skated a bunch of programs. She's been here for a long time. She just had her birthday 2 days ago. She went kind of viral for sending her professor a note asking for a 2-day extension because she was competing at the Olympics. She's been doing little vlogs at the Olympics that I think are pretty funny. Anyway, she missed the free skate, so only the top 24 advanced to the free skate, and she missed it by 0.33 points, and it was because she also had an invalid element. She doubled a loop. Such a bummer. And yeah, it was really, I think what's going to be hard for a lot of people is watching that on prime time. Like, if they're in Canada, they're still going to show her because she's the only Canadian skater. She has been holding up Canadian women's skating for the past 4 freaking years. And so it is a bummer to see her not advance to the free skate, but she did get to compete in the final of the team event. She put out 2 solid programs in the team event. And frankly, just exhausted, I guess, that just doubling. Yes. But she fought a little bit more at the end. She was still smiling through the rest of her Lion King program, but it kind of looked like she was smiling through gritted teeth versus Amber. You just watched the smile just leave her face, and it was so sad. Okay. Let's have another donut. This one is a raspberry beignet, so it's just a regular beignet for Fat Tuesday, and there is raspberry filling in it. That's it. It's not very complicated. Oh, do I hear the pitter-patter of tacked feet? K-Rock Company said, did I miss the donut? Well, you missed 2 of the 3 donuts I'm eating today. The best one was the banana pecan beignet. That's the raspberry filling. It's pretty good. It's not as good as the banana one. It's just terrible to eat on camera. Oh, are you finishing it? I might be kind of hungry. Oh my God. The jam got on my laptop. What's your rating, Aaron? I think 4 out of 5. It's fine. All right. Aaron says 4 out of 5 too. So we all agree. 4 out of 5. All right. Here are today's donuts. 5 out of 5 for the banana pecan beignet. The raspberry beignet is 4 out of 5. And the paczki is 4 out of 5. Pretty good day of donuts, I would say. Possibly being a little hungry is influence it. It doesn't seem like anybody has any questions, so we might be done, which is funny because we can stream longer today because I don't have my union meeting after this, but it doesn't look like anybody has any questions. And And it seems like a lot of people have hands full. But if anybody wants to share what they are looking forward to this week, let me know in the chat what you're looking forward to this week. What am I looking forward to this week? I'm looking forward to, hopefully, one, I'm a little bit looking forward to the Olympics being done because it has been such a part-time job for me to follow the Olympics. Like, I have been just I have published a story on one platform or another every day, if not 2 stories, for like the past week and a half, and I am just tired. I'm just tired. I normally do a story once a week or every other week, and I have published like every day, including my days off between outlets. So I'm just tired. I would like a little bit of a break. But it has been very fun. I hope my goal with part of all this Olympics coverage that I'm doing is it lets me get some of the like bylines that I need to try for Olympic credentials next Winter Olympics, or at the very least, Salt Lake City in 8 years. I would really like to do that. So I'm going to hopefully keep publishing, but some skating stuff. However, my outlets, public radio, is only interested in figure skating during the Olympics. So I'm not complaining too much. I'm very happy that people are taking my pitches, that I was getting asked to do things. And it is 2 weeks every 4 years. So, you know, it's been fun to watch, but also like exhausting. Like there's just been a lot of ups and downs. So looking forward to catching some of these women's programs. I really hope in prime time they show Luna Hendricks. I love her. I love being taken to the club by a figure skater, man. Also, she's like very hot and she knows it, and she dresses very hot. So you're just like, man, I could see you on the dance floor of any Eurotrash club. Like you could see her in Berghain in her skating dresses. It's just great. The woman hates clothes. It's fantastic. Trying to convince the dog that the dinner walk should be more than 2 blocks for your own mental health or for the dog's health. I don't know if this is from last week, but do you think Adelia has a shot at the podium? Yes. Yeah, she does. She's in 4th place position or 5th place position right now. She absolutely has a shot at the podium. She could have a shot at the gold medal. I do think it's unlikely unless she pulls out a quad axle, or it's not a quad axle. Oh, we've already been down that road. Unless she pulls out a quad or a triple axle in the long program, I think it's unlikely, but she got some pretty generous scoring on PCS during the short program, despite not doing a triple axle. So who knows? We're packing and moving, so that's my life for a couple weeks. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's the worst. If you are curious about the whole house situation, by the way, because we're still not living here officially, the House Files channel has an update on all the drama we went through with the water heater, but in that closet there is currently a open wall because of all of the drama with this. So yeah, it's really been a lot. Okay, if you missed the beginning of the stream, I'm just gonna let you know I have, if you are a Patreon member, free or not, I have linked to all the pieces I've been doing for NPR about this Olympics. I did one on the cost of being an Olympic figure skater, interviewed Olympians. We came up with an estimate of how much it costs to get a figure skater to the Olympics. It is high. I would recommend listening to that. I did a piece I've been trying to get on the air for 2.5 years about same-sex ice dancing. I interviewed 2 20-year-old Finnish junior ice dancers that are skating together in Finland, which is one of the 3 countries that allows same-sex pairs in ice dance. And I talked to 2 Olympians that are very eager to approve same-sex ice dancing and open gender ice dancing so that it could help fix some of the structural problems and the chronic undersupply of men in the sport. So I did that piece, and then I did a Up First video podcast about Ilya Malinin. If you tuned in a live stream, you've heard me say most of that. It's just if you want to see A. Martinez's face, if you're a regular NPR listener and don't know what A. Martinez looks like. And is that most of what I did? I think those are most of the things that I did. I filed some other pieces. Oh, and then also if you, for some reason, want to read about someone who woke up and decided to go to every single of the local convenience store chain in 1 8-hour day, I did a little piece about that as well. Not to promote my other stuff, but if you need some amusement and you're eager for more figure skating content, I have been very busy. I hope everybody has a lovely rest of the week. I hope that everybody skates their best in the women's free on Thursday. And I am looking forward to the exhibitions no matter what. I think it's going to be great. And I hope that Misha gets his panda suit delivered for the exhibition. Because I would love to see Kung Fu Panda on Olympic ice. I am so stoked to have all of you come join me for a little bit on this Tuesday night. And until next time, stay safe, pet a cat if you have one available, and I will see you all next Tuesday. Bye.